our viewers to get in touch with any questions for you today, because obviously you have been a huge talking point.
I'm starting to realise that, because when you're in that bubble, you don't know what's going on at all. I'm just starting to understand.
No, we've been talking about Gillian a lot, haven't we? So Col's got a question for you.
Indeed, this is Jane from Facebook. She says, Gillian, when...
Spit it out, come on.
When you fainted in the jungle, you pulled your top down. How could you have done this whilst unconscious?
Well, you're not unconscious completely. You're in and out of consciousness. And I wasn't aware that I pulled my top down. But when you're about to faint... I've fainted a lot in my life. I've fainted about 12 to 15 times. I have a history of fainting. And you try to hold on to something, or you pull on something, or you need to get close to the ground to try and stop it. But I wasn't aware of that.
Well, let's have a look at how you tugged your top down. We've got it here for you, the clip. All right. So that's a more readjustment than maybe steadying yourself.
I'm coming to there. I mean, you don't know what's going on. You don't know where you are. Why are you lying on the ground? It's a really, really bad feeling. You don't feel good afterwards. You know, it's a really strange feeling. You get this really warm heat that comes across my neck and across the head, and you start to get really dizzy. Your legs are like jelly. And the last thing I want to do, because I have scoliosis, which is a very bad curved spine, and if I bang my back, I could be in serious agony. So the last thing I want is to be tossing myself around. That is not good for me. So I do not want to faint. I don't want to. I want to try to stop it, but sometimes you just can't.
The reason people are asking you this and kind of doubting you slightly is because you did a beautiful, what I would call, swoon.
When was that?
Because it was. You literally went, oh. And I think that's the reason.
When was that, the live trial?
Oh, there was quite a few of those. I thought, how wonderful that she can actually...
Well, the live trial, let me just tell you, I was at the medical doctor that morning because I wasn't well. I had not slept all night, and I had a bit of a cold. I was really run down. And I said to them, look, I really shouldn't be doing any more trials. I had nothing to eat. I was feeling very lightheaded, and I was anxiety up to here, like massive anxiety. So when I got to the trial, I didn't know if I was going to say yes or no. I had to hear what the trial was, because I was going to try to do it. And so I got up, and I remember my legs feeling like jelly. I can't remember if I held Dec's hand or what happened. I just keeled over.
Take a look. Here you are, keeling over, live to the nation.
I haven't seen it.
Keeling. Oh, let's get Bob in.
I think I was in and out of consciousness, and I remember...
Yeah, you feel so hot.
I remember something else. As it's a live trial, somebody else could have done it. So I could have said no, but I didn't even hear what it was.
Gillian, why didn't you walk out?
Because I'm not a quitter. I'd signed a contract. I was there for 3 weeks for a job, and after that job, I wanted to take time off and focus on my children. And I didn't want to walk out.
But you hated it so much.
I know, but I wanted them to remove me. Like, every day I was in the Bush Telegraph telling them, trying to find a way to get out of there. I'm hearing voices. Well, I was hearing voices. My voices were saying, what the hell are you doing in here?
Was that an aunt? No, those voices are like, yeah, was that your baby and your tummy talking to you?
What I did learn, though, I did learn... I learned something.
Tell me about the baby and the tummy situation.
Yeah, well, you know, I figured I think I feel a little bit pregnant. That might get their attention, right? Oh, no. The next thing I was...
It's not really believable.
No. The next thing I know, I'm seeing the psychiatrist, and I'm telling her, I think...
That was a good move.
I think I'm not quite emotionally stable for this, and then they determined that I'm quite sane, and I thought, how could I possibly be sane if I signed up for this?
But why, if you're having such a bad time, why not just say, I'd like to go, rather than making up these wild lies?
Well, they weren't lies. I was hearing voices in my head.
No, you
there was
weren't
a voice
pregnant. That was a
continually.
lie.
I didn't say I was pregnant. I said I
feel a bit pregnant.
I said I think I feel a little bit pregnant.
On the subject of that, just lay this up for us.
That to me is more a bit off-centre as opposed to actually being pregnant, you know what I mean? And also, that was in private in the Bush Telegraph. And then I went down to the campus.
Nothing's in private on I'm a Celebrity, get me out.
Well, I kept saying this is private, right?
No, you've really got to watch the next show you go on. Because the whole premise of it is it's filmed 24/7.
That was too dangerous for me.
Can I just clear up one thing before we move off of the whole kind of...
I still want to tell you what I learned. You want to hear what I learned, right?
Don't worry, we're not letting you go just yet. But Alison Hammond, who was in the jungle with you, says that you have hinted to her that you fainted to order.
No, that's not true at all.
She says that...
Absolutely not true. Not true.
Right.
So she's obviously... I'm concerned when people use lies for their own publicity, and that's exactly what's being done here. never fake a faint because it's very dangerous for me to faint because of my back. I cannot risk tossing myself around.
Do you know,
on
I've
the
got to
ground.
say,
And I'll tell you something else. That day of the live faint, we were in leech country, and the floor was covered with leeches. The last place I wanted to be was on top of leeches.
I've got a really, really important question for
Yeah.
you, which we all want to know. This is from Janine on Facebook, and she says, Gillian, did you ever have an urge to look at other people's poo in the camp?
No. No, I didn't.
After those eating trials...
No, after those eating trials, the stink of that dunny, oh...
Was it vile?
Oh, it was absolutely vile.
Was it?
It was very difficult to go in there. Oh, my
Can I
goodness, it
ask
just followed
just a
you
quick
around.
personal question? Is there
Yeah.
anything that you're not phobic or scared of?
She loves poo.
Yeah. So they couldn't understand that, but I learned that we need a show like this because it gives... It's a really interesting thing that I learned. I learned that you can either be a follower in life or you can tout your own way. And I live by my heart and my gut. So I did what I could to the best of my ability. Whereas some people did things because they felt the pressure to do things that they don't feel good about now, like eating these awful things that I just couldn't have lived with myself. And I think this carries into real life. Are you going to be a follower, or are you going to live by your heart and by your gut? And if you live by your heart and your gut, you're always going to feel happier. And you probably won't end up in situations that you don't want to be in. And still the campy, and still I got stars. I got a lot of meals, but there were maybe certain things that I just wasn't willing to do.
But if you don't
And
want
so
to be in
I
a
just feel that-
situation like that where you don't want to do things like that, don't do it.
Right, I agree.
Don't
and
sign up for the show.
Well, I
Because you
didn't-
know
I know,
that
but
you're
I
going to be
didn't
sent over
know.
there to
I
eat a
didn't-
kangaroo's willy.
No, but you don't have to eat a kangaroo's willy. I did not know I would be... I wasn't asked to eat a kangaroo's willy, but nor would I ever. But I'm just saying, in life, you know, people... For example, you know, people who feel pressure to take drugs or to smoke or to drink or to eat bad food, it's because they're not in touch with who they are. And you saw the real me. I let my emotions out, and I go with what I feel is right for me.
If I went over there, I wouldn't necessarily want to do it, but I think I've signed up for this. I'm being paid a hell of a lot of money. The least I'm going to do is give it my all and try.
I did, though.
But
I did. But I did. And I gave it my all within my capability. Because you see, you can't compare a phobic to someone who has a little bit of fear. I mean, imagine the first day I arrive, I'm dressed in my nice clothes, and they pour a bucket of grasshoppers over my head. I mean, and I don't even know what else was in there, and some kind of gunk, and I was traumatised. I know it sounds crazy, but I was traumatised for 24 hours. I was beside myself. I thought, what on earth have I got myself into? And it just got worse, because I don't think to pour an insect over someone's head at that level who's phobic is a very good idea.
But
and it made me
Gillian,
worse.
you've got to know the show.
Well, next time
and you know,
I will.
all you need
Well, there won't
to do
be
is
a
go on
next
the
time.
internet and have a little look at what
There
you were
won't
getting
be a
into.
next time. I mean, one time somebody showed me a snippet. I think I was in someone's house, and I think it was Ceres Matthews, the Welsh singer. I love her.
Yeah.
She was swinging in a hammock, and some guy was waving something over her. I thought, that looks nice. And so I just didn't understand what I was getting myself into.
You thought you were going having a little sunbathe, a little bikini on, swim every day, didn't you?
I thought I'd be cooking. I did not expect to be... I
Tell
was
me about
cooking.
Sean Ryder.
Sean, well...
You two really rubbed each other up the wrong way.
It's kind of interesting, Sean. He has a very nice side that I quite liked. You know, he has this warm heart. He's quite a gentleman. And he even got a cockroach out of my bed when I didn't ask him. There's this other side, and I don't know what it is. I think he sees in... Maybe something about me that triggers something that isn't good. And I think it's because maybe he sees I'm making choices that are free. They're not following the crowd, and he's doing things that he said he had to bury his feelings to do. And so maybe that irked him. But he came up to me at the end and he said, Gillian, I just want you to know that I really like you. I think you're really sexy.
I think, just to pick up on the rest of the campmates, you must have seen their reaction to you when you left the camp. And I guess a lot of them felt that actually, as much as you were making your own decisions and going your own way, those decisions really affected them in as much as they weren't eating.
No, that's not true. They were eating. There were beans and rice every day, plus I flavoured them with all my nice spices. And in addition to that, I still got stars. And interestingly enough, some days you'd have 5 stars, and that would give you a better meal than the 8 stars. And interestingly enough, Dom and Agro both went out one day to do tasks, and they only came back with 3 stars. Well, I came back with 5 and 5 and 4. I mean, so, you know, what's the problem?
But
and I tried. And that's the most important thing. Did you try? Yeah, I gave it my best shot. I know you don't agree, but I really did. You're not in my body. You've no idea what it feels like to be phobic. Do you know, I think there's something like 10 million people in this country who suffer from phobias. And I would like people to have more empathy and more compassion and more care.
I have empathy, but not someone whose general life is one big phobia.
No. Listen, I'll go through my phobias.
No,
Okay?
we haven't got long enough.
I had a phobia of helicopters because a friend of mine died in a helicopter crash. Okay, so that was a huge thing for me to get in that helicopter, but I did it. Okay, I overcame it. Then I went underwater, and I almost drowned twice. Okay, so for me to do that, that's amazing. I crossed bridges at heights singing my Jungle Jill song.
Yeah.
You know, that I'm happy to sing for you.
All right, all right, love.
And then I was in a campground with insects everywhere. They were just everywhere. I then was in a cage with crocodiles. I swam with crocodiles, right? Who's done that? I mean, come on, give me a break.
Look,
I really tried. I thought I met my fears. I overcame a lot. I gained a lot of meals for camp.
So you've gained a
And
lot
I
from
cooked.
this
And I
experience.
soaked beans, and I soaked rice, and I cooked beans, and I cooked rice. I spiced them up. I cooked all kinds of other things. God, I was working every minute. You know, I earned my keep. Thank you very much.
Do you have any regrets?
No, I never have regrets. The only thing I would say to people is you must take responsibility for what you do in life. I went on that show. I did not research it. So next time I do a show, there won't be a next time. But if I do any other kind of show, then I will make sure I know what I'm getting myself into. That's the answer. My mum, I'll give my mum credit. I must say hello to my mum, actually. Mum, I'm back. It's okay. And hi to Lindsay Courtney in Edinburgh. Great fan. My mum said, do you know what you're getting yourself into? And I said, what do you mean? And then we got cut off.
We're about to get a cut off too, so we've got to go to the break. But it's been great to hear your version of events. Thank you so much for coming by today. Gillian McKeith, everyone.